Welcome back. This video is brought to you by WIZ IQ AI, founded by Sajit Kesavan. India has over 900 million connected internet users. That is a digital population larger than the US and Europe combined, generating billions of data points every single second. Indian engineers write the algorithms and maintain the infrastructure that power the world's most dominant tech monopolies. But at home, we remain a nation of consumers. We rent digital space on platforms built thousands of miles away. With nearly 1 billion users and world-class engineering talent, the math doesn't seem to add up. Why has India repeatedly tried and failed to build its own global social media network? This animated timeline charts the birth of the modern internet. Between 2004 and 2010, platforms like Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter secured their dominance. During those exact years, India's internet penetration was a flat line. Data was incredibly expensive, and the market was restricted to basic feature phones. That barrier broke with the rollout of Jio. Data prices plummeted, cheap smartphones flooded the market, and hundreds of millions of Indians came online in a matter of months. But by the time this massive Indian audience logged on, the network effects of Western platforms were fully locked in. The digital real estate was already owned by international players. Local founders didn't lose the race because they lacked the skill to innovate. They lost because geography forced them to start running a decade after the starting gun had fired. Operating a social network requires a staggering amount of upfront cash. You have to pay for global content delivery networks, massive data storage, complex AI recommendation engines, and vast teams of human moderators. Look at this ARPU chart. The US bar on the left dwarfs the Indian bar on the right. Despite huge engagement, Indian ad rates are incredibly low. However, global giants can subsidize Indian server losses with their massive US profits. An Indian startup doesn't have a wealthy foreign market to fall back on. Naturally, local venture capitalists prefer to invest in software as a service or e-commerce, businesses with clear, fast paths to profitability, rather than funding a social media cash burn for 7 to 10 years. When you combine heavy infrastructure costs with low ad rates and impatient capital, attempting to build a pure consumer network in India becomes a mathematical trap. To bypass these financial hurdles, many local startups tried a shortcut. They launched apps explicitly marketed as the Indian Twitter, the Indian TikTok, or the Indian WhatsApp, hoping patriotism and local languages would drive fast adoption. Users quickly realized the flaws in these clones. A social app lives and dies by its user experience and its algorithm. The domestic versions frequently launched with software bugs, laggy interfaces, and recommendation feeds that failed to learn what the user actually wanted to see. This flywheel illustrates the creator economy. Content creators migrate to wherever the audience is largest, the brand sponsorships pay the most, and the prestige is highest. International platforms maintain a lock on all 4 of these incentives. When the Indian government banned Chinese apps, local short video platforms did see a massive, immediate spike in downloads, but that engagement was driven by necessity, not loyalty. The moment Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts optimized their features, the audience migrated back. You cannot guilt a user into staying on a laggy app. If the core experience is inferior, no amount of national pride will stop them from switching to a smoother alternative. Unlike China, which incubated giants like WeChat and Douyin behind a strict digital firewall, India operates one of the most open internet markets on Earth. A local founder has to compete directly with Meta, Google, and ByteDance on day one. Historically, India's tech sector was built on providing IT services for external clients. We mastered execution, but the specific product DNA required to design culture, build global brands, and moderate communities was left largely unpracticed. You can track the casualties of this environment. Hike Messenger tried to fight WhatsApp's network effect and eventually pivoted. Coup gained political momentum as a Twitter alternative, but struggled to retain its user base. ShareChat and Moj captured huge regional audiences, but faced crushing competition from global giants. The life cycle is highly predictable: a sudden surge in hype and downloads, followed by weak user retention, a drying up of venture capital, and an inevitable decline. If India is ever going to break this cycle, the copycat strategy has to end. The next successful platform will have to invent an interaction format native to local behaviors, integrating digital payments, local commerce, and regional community structures right from the ground up. It must be built with a world-class AI recommendation engine at its core, not patched on as an afterthought. And it will require investors who understand network effects and are willing to absorb heavy losses for an entire decade. Most importantly, it has to look beyond its own borders. To escape the trap of low domestic ad rates, this platform must be built in India but engineered to capture users across Africa, Southeast Asia, and the Middle East. The talent is here. The digital infrastructure is finally here. The only question left is who will step up to define the true Indian social model. Drop your thesis in the comments and subscribe for more deep dives.